being completely radicalized by the rental housing market right now. I cannot believe that you can pay over $300 in non-refundable fees just to apply for an apartment when background checks and credit checks take like $20 or something like that. And you have to have very recent pay stubs and proof of income and things like that. You could have $300,000 saved up, and if you haven't worked in the last month, you still can't get an apartment. The fact that you have to make like 3 times the rent, the base rent, in your monthly income. There are people all across the country who make only enough money that 80% of their monthly income goes to rent. They can't get an apartment. People can't get apartments. How is this the way that things work? It's so frustrating.
I just want to say that it's fucking wild that as a 2-income household, my husband and I have come to the realization we can't afford groceries right now. Like, just straight up can't afford groceries. Because if we buy groceries, then we either won't be able to pay our rent or our electric bill, because both of those come out of this pay cycle and they will take the entire pay cycle. That's fucking bonkers. That's so fucking wild. We have 2 incomes and we cannot afford to eat, and we don't even have kids. Like, it's literally just the 2 of us, and we can't afford to eat with 2 incomes. That is just... But I mean, I guess, you know, that means we won't have to wash dishes because our dishwasher's still broken, as it has been for 2 months at the place that we pay so much in rent, you know? Wild.
£900 for this flat in London that doesn't have a kitchen or a sink. Check this out. This landlord is taking the absolute piss. Apparently this is a kitchen. There's 1 single bunk bed, and underneath the bed is a fridge, freezer and 2 chests of drawers. But wait for it. I have genuinely seen prisons nicer than this. Where are you supposed to prepare your food, and how can you possibly cook on that? I don't know how this is legal, but there's actually no sink in this bathroom or kitchen. Are you supposed to just wash your hands in the shower? It just gets better and better though. Check out this description. 1 bed, 1 bathroom flat, Princelet Street, London. Good day all. I'm pleased to inform you that I have this stunning 1-bedroom apartment in Spitalfields, London. Rent per month £900. This landlord then goes on to say damage deposit is required. I'm sorry, but there's been enough damage done to the place. I don't think you can really get any worse. Please personal message me if you're interested in bookings or viewings. The London rental market is an absolute joke. The fact that the microwave is just tucked away in the corner and the kettle is on the floor. I was going to say this could be illegal if they don't have any windows, but there is 1 small window in the top right hand corner. Let us know your thoughts on this one, people. Maybe it's me, maybe I'm being pessimistic, but let us know what you think about this one. Would you pay £900 to live in this?
I have to pay first and last month's rent plus a security deposit. I have a family member, he's not on this app, and he is trying to get into an apartment complex, big corporate owned apartment complex here in Tampa. 2-bedroom, 1 bath, 800 square feet, $1,600 a month. They have horrible reviews on Google. Not a great part of town, but it's what he can afford right now. And, you know, he knows it's a temporary thing. So he asked me if I'd be willing to co-sign on this apartment because this apartment complex is asking for first and last month's rent plus a large security deposit. And I said, no problem. I'd rather you take that money that you would normally have to apply towards the application process to get moved in and instead focus on like buying yourself groceries when you get moved in and having the funds to set up your utilities and all the things. And I went ahead and submitted all the documents that they asked of me, which was 3 months worth of bank statements, our 2023 tax return, as well as copies of contracts and payments made from my clients because I'm a 1099 employee, to show them that basically if for some reason he weren't able to pay his rent, it would default to me, and including my social security number, so they'd come after me. No problem. I trust this family member wholeheartedly and have no issue doing that. So I submitted all those documents and they called him today. And yes, they are still asking for first and last month's rent and they are still requesting a security deposit. They lowered it. But let me just set the stage here. $1,600 a month is the rent. I provided them documentation to show that one of my clients, just one client that pays me in a month, would cover over 12 months of his rent. And I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying this because this is the level of absurdity we have reached. You have someone that's co-signing to ensure that that apartment is paid for, that has proof, documentation, proof of funds to show that just one of my payments from one of my clients in a month that I provided a contract to show would cover his rent for the entire year. And yet that's not good enough to waive a security deposit or still make him pay first and last month's rent. What are we doing? Like, why are we making Gen Z like not be able to have a place to live? This is absurd. Like, I don't understand why somebody needs to be making over $1 million to show that you could waive the security deposit and not make them pay last month's rent. Like, I essentially showed them collectively that my husband and I make, I'm not going to say how much it is, but it's absurd. Because if he doesn't have a cosigner, like, how do people move into those places then? I don't get it. I don't understand what we're doing to this generation. Then I see a news report that mortgage rates are climbing back up again, 5-month high, 6.85%. I ain't buying in that market unless I can pay cash. So we rent. And I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that for us. But I'm also 20 years older. Like, and I've already lived, I don't, like, this is stupid at this point. I guess, what is that generation supposed to do if you don't have somebody co-signing for you? How do you expect them to come up with that type of cash for $1,600 a month rent? I don't understand what we're doing here. I don't understand it.
I am so tired of hearing what boomers have to say about what young people should be doing in the housing market today. The boomers on Twitter are all yelling about how no one buys starter homes anymore. We all want 5-bed, 5-bath houses as our first homes. And of course, everyone is telling them, like, in a lot of places, this is $500,000 now. Like, starter home prices don't exist for a lot of people. And that is true. But the point I want to make is people are not buying starter homes at starter home ages. The average age of a first-time home buyer this year is 35. Boomers were buying their starter homes in their 20s and then they upgraded in their 30s. But the median number of years that people buying their first home today expect to live in that home is 18 years. And by definition, a starter home is one that has like 2, maybe 3 bedrooms, 1 bathroom. And again, we're buying these homes in our 30s. So it's not just a house we're living in for 3-4 years while we're roughing it, while we have 1 baby, and by the time we have 2 or 3 kids, we can move up to the house with 3 or 4 bedrooms. You're acting like we're all spoiled brats, that we don't want to spend $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 for a 1-bathroom home that we're going to have to raise a family in forever. And I know people across the world raise families in spaces much tinier than this, but just to act like young people are just entitled and are like too good to buy something like this is insane, when the actual reason is we're all in our 30s and we are planning to buy the only house we expect to ever be able to afford. Boomers were shopping for this at age 27 and they knew at age 31 they could go buy their 5-bedroom house.
Okay, I just want to go on a quick little rant right now about how expensive student housing is getting in my area. And just for reference, I go to UCF, so I'm in like the Central Florida area, and let me fucking tell you, I just found out that the apartment I live in now, their rent is going up to $1,019 a month for my floor plan. And that is per person. So in my small ass little 3x2, each person has to pay $1,019 a month for the rent, plus utility, which is another $50 to $80 a month, adding up to basically $1,100 a month. And just for reference, when I moved here my last school year, I only had to pay $715 a month, I believe, and we didn't have to pay utility. Like, this shit is getting so ridiculous. And it's like, for the people who have to actively work in college to pay all their expenses, this is awful. And that's why we're getting the fuck out of here next year. We're moving to a non-student affiliated apartment, and we're gonna save like over $300 a month. It's also way bigger.